I was just downstairs checking the mail, which is, I don't know, it's not a very exciting business anymore. I remember it used to be really thrilling, to go and see what the mail had in store for you. Now, I don't know, it's basically junk, bills, occasionally a magazine, although really, I don't even read them very much anymore. And, we have a big garbage can standing next to our mailbox, and everybody just kind of empties 85% probably of their mail right into the garbage can. So it's kind of a sad state of affairs. But for me, mail, and specifically cards and letters, are really, really nice, really important, like a really authentic way to share how you feel, and we used to get a lot of them. Now, when it comes to the holidays, there are sort of a flurry of them, and that's nice. That's nice, particularly when they are sort of heartfelt ones, not just sort of mass-produced season's greetings signed the Smiths, but that they have some kind of personal connection to me. And I was thinking about all the cards that I have in our various sort of archives. Maybe you have the same kind of thing. Drawers, boxes, bags, stacks tied with ribbon, albums that are kind of collections of cards that you got in the past. And I wanted to just kind of go and look through some of them, just because they're really, these pieces of paper that are filled with emotion. They're little pieces of personal history that capture a moment in time, capture a relationship, and I just have a lot of them. I do. I mean, I've been around on this planet for quite a while, but I have cards and letters that go back to when I was born. This is the baby book that my parents kept when I was born. There I am as a wee bairn. Here's the first telegram. Those are the days when people sent telegrams. This is from my grandfather, wishing me welcome to the world. But also, among the telegrams, there are postcards. Here's a little envelope with my dad's drawing from my first hair cutting. But here are these cards. Look at how amazing they are. These beautiful cards. This one isn't even signed, so I'm not sure who it's from, but these are the very first sort of cards, Christmas cards, Easter cards that I got on the year that I was born, from various people. And they're really they speak of their time, right? The handwriting, just the design of these illustrations. I mean, that's England in the 60s, which is where and when I was born. From people who are long gone, but they're all here stuck in this little book. And it's just so nice to still have that, to have that so many years later, to still have this book. And I have a similar book. This is a book that Patty kept for Jack when he was first born. And again, it has the same sorts of things. Little cards that people wrote to us, saying how excited they are to meet Jack. This is actually from my sister. Pictures of nurses. My sister-in-law's a nurse, as is my niece's husband. So there's all these cards that are still there. It's old photographs. This is kind of a perverse moment when we painted a house on Patty's pregnant stomach, because that was Jack's house, and Jack was late. So anyway, so we'll have this sort of little mementos, of notes that people wrote to us, telling us how they felt about Jack being born. And some of them were just quick. They were just like gift things that went like this from Patty's baby shower. But there's just an expression of emotion and feeling from people who are no longer with us. I mean, honestly, many of these people, this is the souvenirs that I have of them. So when Jack was born. We're still continuing on that tradition. And I have other letters from my past. Like this is like a card that my dad made when I was very young, and it was just a story that he wrote for me, like a kid's story, in the form of a card with my own drawings in it. So that's something valuable and meaningful. But also, I was thinking about cards recently a lot because a friend of ours passed away. She was 98 years old. And after she died and they settled her estate and they went through all of her papers, they found all these cards that we had sent to her. She lives in Los Angeles. And we had met her because we shared a love of pigs. And Patty in particular liked to send her cards at pigs. And so for years we would send her these cards and she would send cards back. And so we got in the mail I got this package that has all these cards that we sent to her in Los Angeles. Lots of them to do with pigs, postcards, other things we had of interest. Pigs and pigs and pigs. And letters. Letters always in the letters with the cards as well, just saying, hi. We didn't know her very well, but we were pen pals in the days when they were pen pals. So, it's just so nice to be able to go back and look at these things and see this relationship we had. And to be honest, it's kind of sad for me. It's sad because these cards represent not only our friend Kay, who's no longer with us, but Patty as well, because Patty, her touch is all over these, her signature, literally her signature, but also just, the way that she was. And these cards really capture it, And again, I have, how many emails a day do we get, right? How many emails, how many text messages? But I don't know if they're as kind of filled with significance and feeling as all of these many cards. And this is a set of cards actually that Patty made when she was being a fashion stylist and she was promoting herself, so she had made these cards. It's tough for me honestly even to look at these now. I'm not going to spend that much more time at them, but there were this relationship between us and Kay captured in these cards, and these cards, are still here. I still have them. And honestly, a month after I got these, the woman, Jean, who was a relative of Kay's, was going through her estate and found yet another envelope full of these things, and she sent them on to me. And honestly, I haven't opened these. I don't know if I can bring myself to now. Maybe in a few years. But right now, those cards have they're too loaded, But I'm so glad that we wrote them. I'm so glad that Kay kept them, and I'm so glad that I got them back, because they're not just pieces of paper. They're not just, things. They are feelings. They're people. So Patty loved cards, as I said, and she loved making them, and she loved embellishing them. Like this is this is actually just one of many kind of things of cards I have of hers. But she would do this kind of thing, taking a card and just embellishing it. She would stick stuff on. She would write funny jokes in it, and there were a million opportunities for her to write cards, for me to write cards back to her, and they were all just funny. I mean, there were just so many of them, and they were all kind of really appropriate and weird. Like here's yet more pigs, but she would always find like the perfect card. And if she didn't find the perfect card, she would make the perfect card, or she would take the imperfect card and she would add something onto it. And cards, anybody who knew her got a lot of things with cards, and that was just, and it wasn't just the cards. It was envelopes and stamps and all the stuff that goes with greeting cards, right? It's a whole world, and it's a world that's still really important because nothing has replaced it. I don't think anything can. So, millions of these cards, and I'm glad to have them also because, this this is something that Jack is probably going to treasure one day. So anyway, so I have a lot of these, and they are very precious to me, of course. And this is a set of cards. I designed this card for my grandmother. This is when I was 16, and I made this set of note cards. This is actually, I had them printed, and I gave them to her with this kind of weird drawing of this man on it. But she used those for a long time. And people making cards is cool, people who you know. Like this is a card made by my friend Prashant. Or here's a card by my friend Lapin. So having cards that people who you know made, that you can then use, is really a treat as well. You know, when Jenny writes me cards, she uses these little colored cards, and she writes these little notes. And you know, I have like a lot of collection of these things that are very different. You know, they express her, express how she feels about me, and they are, you know, sweet and different and frankly private. I'm not going to show them to you now. So anyway, so I have a lot of those. Yeah, here's another album from Jack's cards that were collected for when Jack was first born, first year or two. All these cards from people, all pasted to this album. Lots and lots of them saved here. But you know, hand drawn. I drew all these hand drawn wrapping paper. Let's see here. I didn't find any wrapping paper I liked, so I went out and bought some. Here's a collage card that Patty made. So a lot of this stuff is here. Strange things like that. I also wanted to show you this. This is something I got a long time ago. It's a scrapbook, but it's greeting cards, and it's a couple's relationship in the 1940s, I think, 40s and 50s, all told in these cards from when they first are getting married. And you can see how this paper is completely disintegrating, non-archival. But look at the design and how beautiful these are as an example of the times, right? So many different forms of it. This book has seen better days, but you know, I just love the cards themselves have really stood up, even though the book itself hasn't. Look at this. So this is all the various things. Special kind of card, you know, that you put a check in, and a card from a department store, and it's beautiful. This is kind of raised feeling. Cute stuff, you know, different color schemes, little cards like this with a chicken, a duck. So lots of beautiful variations on a theme. You dopes, now that you've tied the knot, the fun is over. Congratulations anyway. Sort of grim view of marriage from the times. Cute bears and ribbons with silver ink. Beautiful sort of parchment-like paper. So this card is a Hallmark card, and it is from, there's got to be the year in here somewhere. I forget what it is. 1955. 1955, look at that. Sort of card that opens up. Has this sort of inlaid metallic paper. Really, so many forms of expression. Weddings. So then it becomes like their Christmas cards, their birthdays. Here's a little custom-made one with Shirley, Leo, Larry, and Bozo McNamara. This is birthday cards between them. Happy birthday, darling, 1956. All my love, Flicker. I guess that was his nickname. To my husband, love, Lee. She was lovely. This is one of my favorite cards. I remember making a copy of this because it's so cool. To my wife, honey, you're my Valentine. You only have to take one look to see my heart's an open book. I love you. From Bill, 1956. So she treasured these, obviously, Lee. treasure the cards from Flickr. Maybe Flickr there was their dog. Maybe they're sending cards back and forth between their dog. Yeah, because there's a lot of dog stuff here. So anyway, lots and lots of examples. I love this one. To a perfect pair. What's his is hers, and what's hers is his. And best of all, what fun it is. Happy anniversary to you both. Strange, sort of vaguely racist thing there. This with love on our anniversary, no matter what the weather. It's wonderful to be together. So, cards can express so many different things. They can be for particular occasions, of course, but I think the nicest ones are the ones that are just sort of, I was thinking about you, and this card kind of summed it up. And I think we've all had that experience of you go to a card store and you like look and look and look and look, and you want to find something that isn't embarrassing, right? That really expresses who you are, who the person is, and what your relationship is. And sometimes, at least from my experience, a lot of times it's easier to just make a card than to go through all that, or at least to take a card and just sort of change it to make it personal, to make it one of a kind, because, Hallmark's good, but they're not always that good. So anyway, there's lots and lots of cool examples there. So I'm telling you all this because I want to encourage you to think about making your own cards this year, coming upon the holiday season. And, I think it's just in this digital world that we live in, it's nice to make a card. I mean, even if honestly you have to take a picture of it and email it to somebody, do we even know each other's addresses anymore? I don't know. Anyway, I think it's just a nice thing to do. And in the interest of making it a nicer world and making more stuff and expressing ourselves creatively, I hope that this is going to be the year of making cards and sending them to each other. So if you want to send me a card, I'd be glad to have one. And if you are making cards and sending them to other people, I'd like to know about that too. There's just a wealth of opportunity of all this creative stuff we've been making in our sketchbooks, these drawings we've been doing. It's an opportunity to kind of take some of that creativity and share it. Take it out of your sketchbook pages and maybe make it into a card, maybe make it into an illustrated letter, which is also a really nice thing to do a year-end letter. And then to remember throughout the year, express yourself. You could do a Post-it and do a drawing on it and give it to somebody and put it on their desk and express yourself. I think cards can take many, many forms, but they all have one thing in common, which is they are messengers of our hearts and how we feel. And as you can see through this kind of stroll down memory lane that I've been going through, it continues to resonate. It continues to have meaning. And not that you write a card in order for somebody to look at it when you're dead, but it's still important and matters, and is a great way to use your art supplies, if nothing else. So with that, I'm going to go and sit down and write someone a letter, or maybe an email. No, I won't do that. Maybe I could sell them a PDF. No, I don't think I'll do that. So have fun. See you later. Bye-bye.